First and most important question. What is a cell? In your understanding, what is a cell? Yes, Noah, you should be knowing this. You did an exam as well recently with me. What is a cell? Of human body. Okay. So only humans have cells, that means. That means trees are made out of bricks and dogs are made out of cows. Yeah. Of life. That's use what I taught you. That's very important, right? That's very important that you stick to the definitions I teach you. If you use your hybrid definitions, that is something from my friend, Allah Pugedra friend told me this is what a cell is. Then online I read this is what a cell is. And then you put Sir's definition as well. Then it becomes a hybrid definition. And that's not what you guys should be doing, right? Everything in the TUTE is basically from your textbooks and from your past papers. So if you remember whatever that is, and now, by the way, how many of you are from the local curriculum, local syllabus? Yourself. Who else? Anyone else here? Yeah. So anyway, some of you may have a background from the local curriculum, the national curriculum. Guys, you have to understand that there is a difference when it comes to our IGCSE, our Cambridge and EDEXCEL curriculum. Why? Because this curriculum is more about critical thinking. Memorization and writing is not going to work. In your local curriculum, you memorize a whole block, you write as many details as possible, they'll give you marks. Here, the questions are very different. They'll give you a 3-mark question, but the details are very difficult to just write down without using your analytical skills. So you have to look at the question, you have to analyze the question, criticize the question, and then write it down. So it's not difficult. It's just that you have to actively, when you get a definition, you shouldn't just memorize. You need to think, okay, a cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Now, if you say humans, there's a problem there. No? What are you implying? You're implying that only humans are made out of cells. And basically, then what are bacteria made out of? What are trees, plants made out of? What are, animals made out of? Insects. Everything on earth, anything that we call living is actually made out of cells. This is the most important fact that you need to remember, right? Anything that we say is living is made out of cells, because without cells, there will be no life. You understand that now, right? So to be called a living organism, you need to be made out of cells. If you're not made out of cells, then you can't be called living. Understood? Is this wall made out of cells? It's made out of bricks, right? Are bricks living? No, it's not, right? That trash bin right there, made out of plastic. Is plastic living? No, it's not. It's not made out of cells, right? That's now your first and most basic concept. So if you call something living, you need to say that it's made out of cells. Understood? Okay, good. Defining characteristics of living organisms. If you walk on the road, and if somebody was to take your mobile, you're using a mobile phone, you're walking on the road randomly, you're texting your friend or whoever, right? Hey, Machan, let's go, let's meet for a movie, right? Transformers is out, or Barbie Girl is out, right? We have to favor both sides now, okay? So Barbie Girl is out, let's go and watch it, right? So then some random fellow comes and says, "Hey, Malli enne?" So they called it on the road, everyone's a Malli or Aya. Like, is that a living organism? Pointing at your phone. What will you tell this uncle or this auntie or whoever it is? It's not a living organism. Okay, but then he says, wait, it moves. It vibrates. Movement. Okay. It speaks. Why? You play a song, it starts singing. Somebody calls you, you answer, it starts speaking. It shows different images, communicates with you in different ways by showing you images and words. It has power on and then power off when it has no energy. Like you guys, when you have no energy, you sleep. But when you have energy, you are awake. So it's awake and then it goes back to sleep. So how are you going to respond to this guy? How are you going to make this guy understand that you are a living organism? You are an example of a living organism, I hope, right? Not zombies here, no, in disguise, right? Okay, so you're a living organism, but this phone is not a living organism. How are you going to convince this uncle who comes up with you? These are the characteristics you need to remember. You tell him, uncle, to call something living, they have to show movement, right? Then the uncle says, phone vibrates. Okay, but can it move from one place to another on its own? No. Can it show? Now, if you look at bacterial cells, have you seen bacteria? I'm going to get a microscope, by the way, next week, and we will look at some. I have a few slides of the liver, pancreas from my, I got it from the hospital, of patients with various diseases. So you can actually have a look at that, and microscope is on the way, so don't worry. It's actually here. Unfortunately, it's in Kotta. I don't even know where that is, so I couldn't go pick it up. But next week, you'll be able to see cells under the microscope, right? Okay, so bacterial cells, if you look at them live under the microscope, they move. They kind of wiggle their way and they can move. If you look at plants, have you seen, guys, when you go to Gaul on the, not the highway, but the old Gaul road, if you look at the beach, the sea, you'll see these coconut trees that are bending like this. Have you seen these bent coconut trees? That is actually the trees initially grow straight, and it bends, curves like this towards the sun, so it can get as much light as possible for photosynthesis. Understood? That's an example of movement, right? The tree is essentially not moving, but it can respond to changes in the environment and kind of grow in different directions, right? It's not exactly movement, but just to make it understand, to make you understand, I'm just saying it, right? So it can change the position of its I should say the direction of growth based on where the sun is. So if the tree is growing this way, suddenly the sun is only coming from this way, it can bend that way and grow towards the sun. Okay, respiration. What do you understand by respiration? So people who did the foundation program with us, you should be knowing, and people who did O-levels previously with us, you should be knowing. So basically what respiration is it's a chemical reaction. And in respiration, energy is released from food. Now you guys eat food. You guys eat food now. Why do you eat food? Have you ever questioned it? Why do you feel weak if you don't eat food? The example I always use every year is in the mornings, right? When you wake up, go late to school, let's say you have to be at school at 7:30, now it's 7:25. You're late, obviously, right? Unless your school is right in front. But let's say it takes you 20 minutes to go to school, you're waking up at 7:25, you have to be at school at 7:30. You know what you do? Your mother comes behind you, now quickly put your uniform on, you don't even brush your teeth, don't even wash your faces. Quickly you just run out, and then your mom comes behind you saying, eat. And you go like, no, I'm late, I have to go, there's no time for me to eat. So then you go to school. When you go to school, you see your friends, you forget the fact that you didn't eat, you start running, you start playing. And then what happens is, by the time you come home, you're almost dead. You feel really weak, you feel dizzy, you have a headache. And then you tell your mom, Ane Amma, I'm hungry. Mata bad. Help me. I feel like I'm going to die. So what does your mom say? This is what I told you. This is what they say. Mariam is holding her face as if it doesn't happen to her. But if you have a chat, if I put her mom on speakerphone, I can do it now. She's the same thing. Mariam is right? She thinks that she's much older than her age, but she forgets that she's still very young. Right. Okay. So anyway, so then what happens is now your mom gives you your rice or curry, whatever, and some juice maybe, or tea, and you have all of that, and now you feel energetic. You feel like you have energy. You feel a lot better, right? Why is that? It's because the food that you've eaten was digested, it was absorbed into the blood, And your body has broken down that food to release energy, which then allowed you to feel energetic again. You understand that? So basically, what is respiration? The breakdown of food to release energy. So how do you energize your phone? You give it electrical energy, you plug your charger to it, and it charges the battery, and your phone can basically function. How do you function? By eating food. Food gives you energy, and that energy allows you to do what? It allows you to walk, it allows you to talk, it allows you to play sports, to think, to do various things, right? So it's a lot more complicated than this, but I've kept this point respiration as simple as possible. Sensitivity. What do you understand by sensitivity? The ability to respond to a change in the environment. Now, what is a change in the environment? There you go. There. Mariam reacted. Okay. Yeah. That is a change in the environment. Things were going very calmly, very softly. Are you okay? Do I need to rush you to my hospital? Sure, no? Right? Okay. So let's say there's a change. Now you're walking down a road and it's night, you're kind of scared, you're already in fear. Suddenly a dog comes and says, the way I did it, right? Wouldn't you feel scared? You would. And how would you react to this? You jump, you turn towards the sound. Yeah, that's what you do. No, that's what any human being would do unless they're ultra brave. So what happens now is, what is that sudden bark, that sudden sound I made, or the sudden bark from the dog? What is that? It is a change in the environment. We call it a stimulus, right? A change in, we'll be studying these terms, don't worry. It's a change in the environment. And you have responded to that change. How? By turning towards the sound and by jumping out of fear. This is what you know is known as sensitivity. Not, Ani, I'm a sensitive person, I get upset easily. That's not sensitivity, right? In biology, it's a little different. Okay? People say, no, I'm depressed. Parents have grounded because I didn't get good marks. That depression and real depression are two different things. Same way, don't write your definition of sensitivity. Sensitivity is basically the ability to detect and respond to changes in the environment. Understood? Right? So when your mom calls you out of your room saying, come down, I need to talk to you, you listen to her and you go to her. That's an example of sensitivity. Right? When your teacher asks you your name, you listen to him, you understand what he's saying, you respond back to him. Of sensitivity. Understood? Right? When your mom says that you're sleeping the entire day, wake up, be useful in the house, she comes and puts the light on in your room. Wake up, oh my God. You cover your eyes why it's too bright. Example of sensitivity. Okay? You're responding to changes in your environment. And control. What is control? What do you understand by control? It's basically the internal conditions inside your body. For example, you have a body temperature. Is your body temperature drop till you freeze? Is your body temperature 0? No. Is it 10 degrees? No. Usually when you take a thermometer and measure in Celsius, your temperature will be 37, 37.2, 37.3, 37.4 max. So if you measure all of our body temperatures here, it will generally be between 37 and 37.3 or 4, which is normal. But when you have a fever, your body temperature increases, right? If you go out in the cold, your body temperature reduces. But our body, if we get too warm or too cold, it reacts how? For example, if you're too cold, what happens? You start shivering, right? You start shivering. You see that the hair on your skin all rises. It becomes straight. Why? This is your body's attempt to try to increase your body temperature because the body temperature has dropped. You've gone, let's say it's snowing outside, you've walked out without a jacket. Your body is trying to increase the body temperature to keep you warm. Your body, you start running a race. You're in the sun for a long time. Your body temperature increases. What happens? You start sweating, right? You start sweating now. And if you're wearing a jacket, what do you say? This is too hot. You remove the jacket, throw it aside. Why? To cool down. So your body has the ability to control its internal inside conditions. If your blood glucose, your blood sugar levels are too high, like a diabetic patient, your body can reduce it. If it's too low, your body can increase it. If there's too much water, now, for example, if I ask you guys to drink 2 liters of water right now, would you end up going to chew in the bathroom after 1 hour? Most likely, no. Chew will come, no? Yes or no? This is simple terms, right? It will come, no? Yeah. Why is that? You've given your body too much water. Your body has detected there's too much water in your body. So you end up releasing that extra water as urine. Your kidneys remove it. Your kidneys filter it out. You understand? Right? You guys know what kidneys are? No? Those basic things. Yeah. Hello? Understand what kidneys are, right? Because some people are giving me a look like this. Not kidney beans, kidneys, organs. Here. Right? Okay. Okay, right. So, growth, permanent increase in size. When you were born, you were like this. Now you are like this. Okay? Growth. Same with even bacterial cells. When they were first formed, they were tiny, but the cell, so bacteria are an example of what is known as a unicellular organism. What do you understand by unicellular organism? Anyone here can define what a unicellular? One cell. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. Single cell organism. Okay, right. So what do you understand by that? So basically, if I take one skin cell from my skin, can I say that this is Shakeel? No. Shakeel is what? An organism that is made of billions of cells, no? Right? If I take one cell from a plant, let's say there's a big mango tree in your garden. If I take one cell from that tree, can I say that this is the tree, this is the mango tree? Then what is it? It's just a cell. The tree, a human, animal are examples of organisms made out of many cells, millions, billions of cells. But in the case of bacteria, they're just made out of one cell. If I take one bacterial cell and say they're different bacteria, E. coli, Salmonella, Klebsiella, forget those fancy names. So if we just take one bacterial cell and you say this is a bacteria, you will be correct. Because why? Bacteria made out of only one cell. So if you look at bacteria under a microscope, each one is called a bacteria. Each cell is called a bacteria. But if I take one of your cells and put it under, can I call it Atika? Can I call it Nuha? Can I call it Jolene? No, right? I can't. So this is the difference. Some organisms are made of one single cell. Even yeast. Have you heard of yeast? When your mom bakes, she adds yeast to flour, sugar. Yeast is an example of a single cell organism as well, right? So if you look at yeast it's a single cell fungus. Yeast is a fungus, which we use to help us cook, to bake bread, to make alcoholic beverages. Yeast is used, okay? Right. Reproduction, a biology student's favorite topic. Some of you must have come in class today thinking, yo, when is sir going to do reproduction? I can't wait for that day. Well, that day is far. Not anytime soon. But we will be studying it anyway. So biology students, from the first day onwards in this your 2024 part-time batch, the evening classes, there are some fellows, only reproduction they ask, nothing else. On Instagram, they message me. I am putting a picture of an ECG of a patient having a heart attack. I am thinking about saving this patient. These fellows are writing, sir, when is reproduction? This is how some brilliant students I have, right? Okay, but he works hard for some reason. He works hard. I don't know how, but he gets good marks. Always crazy about reproduction. Anyway, so it's basically the ability to produce an organism like yourself. Right? So obviously, humans can reproduce, or else you guys will not be here today, right? Bacteria can reproduce, which is why when you get an infection and you don't treat it, the bacteria multiply and you get very sick. That's the reason why you see your pet cats, your pet dogs, They give birth to kittens and puppies, all example of reproduction. Why is reproduction essential? Without reproduction, organisms will not continue to exist. If all humans on earth today stop reproducing, in 50 years or 100 years, there will be no humans. Why? If they die, what happens? There are no small humans growing to become adults. So if all the humans today stop reproducing, do you think we'll have humans in 200 years? No, right? All the human population will be gone. If trees don't produce fruits and seeds, can you increase now? If mango trees don't produce mangoes, apple trees don't produce apples. Why am I saying that? Why? Because apples and mangoes, they contain seeds. If you plant that seed, a new tree grows. So if no seed is being produced, no seed is being planted, can you increase the number of apple and mango trees? You can't. You can't. Reproduction is essential to make sure that species, that type of organism continues to survive and the numbers increase. You get it? You get it? Right. Excretion. What is excretion? The ability to remove toxic materials and substances of excessive requirement. Just you don't have to remember these definitions for now, because why? We'll be studying them all over again when we do these areas of the syllabus. Just have an idea. I just want you to understand. This is your first class of the syllabus. That's why I'm going slow. So it'll give you time to understand things bit by bit. You don't have to memorize this. In time, everything will be crystal clear. We will cover it all. You understand? Okay. So excretion, the removal of organisms of toxic substances and substances in excess of requirement. This is an example of what I just told you. You drink excess water, it comes off as urine, right? If you, for example, a substance which is bad for your body, let's say people who drink alcohol or take drugs, your body can break these. Now, if you drink alcohol, for example, the liver can break down alcohol and make it less toxic. Do you get it? That's why people who drink too much, they have liver problems. Okay, they have liver problems, their eyes become yellow. You want to see a picture? I think it's too early to show you my patient's pictures, you get freaked out. But okay, so you have seen, no? Right. So too much alcohol will cause liver problems. Why? Because the liver is the organ in your body that breaks down alcohol and makes it less harmful. So too much alcohol can damage the liver and people can actually end up dying. It's a very sad death, actually, very slow, sad death. Okay. Right. And nutrition. The taking in of materials for growth, energy, and development. So you all eat. Every organism on earth needs food, right? Why do bacteria enter your body? So that they can get food from your body. Your body is like a buffet for the bacteria. Why? So much of food inside. Just can eat everything. Okay, then why do you have infections of fungus on your body? Or if you keep bread for a long time in a packet without eating it or without using it, mold grows on it. You know what mold is? This green color. So you would have noticed when you went to school before, your mom would have given you a slice of bread, with some Marmite or whatever, and you didn't eat it. After 2 weeks, you open it. It looks like grass has grown on it. Green color. This is what you call mold. It's a fungus. Fungus is growing on it because it's using the energy that the food, that the bread is providing it for growth. Okay. So first question is, what are the characteristics of living organisms? And we can remember it through this abbreviation. Mrs. C. Gren, right? So Mrs. C. Gren. Movement, respiration, sensitivity, control, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. Understood? This is what is known as the characteristics of living organisms. Mrs. C. Gren. This is the abbreviation that is going to help you remember this. Okay? So this, I'm not telling you to remember this as that auntie who's there next door in front of your house. This abbreviation is supposed to help you remember the the characteristics of living organisms. So this is what you're supposed to be doing. People online, is it clear? People online, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Good, good, excellent. Right. Okay. Now, prokaryotes versus eukaryotes. Is this? Now, yes. Yeah. Now, guys, I will introduce the first structure in a cell right now. If you take a cell, right? In the cell, there is a area. So structures, or I should say structure is better. Within cells, there are smaller structures. Right now, what can you understand? You know what, we'll just go to what a cell is directly and then we'll come back to this later. Right. So we'll start with what a cell is. Okay, so you know about what unicellular organisms are, multicellular organisms are. So a cell, guys, is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Let's say I'm building a house. To build a house, I have to first build walls. Yes or no? If you take a house, if you take this entire floor at Platinum as a house, each house has different rooms and each room has different walls. Can I build a house without building walls? No, right? Take this wall, for example. This wall contains bricks, right? So to make this wall, I need to lay bricks one on top of each other. Yes or no? Yeah. So when I lay the bricks one on top of each other, what happens is you build a wall. Yes or no? Same way, guys. To make you as a person, to make a dog, a cat, plant, cells are arranged one on top of each other to make these structures, right? So it's cells that are used. So instead of bricks, what the building blocks of life, to make the bricks of life, I should say, to make any living organism, you need a cell. So you take one cell, put another cell, put another, millions, billions, and that's what forms a living organism. This is something that you guys need to remember. So if you take, for example, your iPad, it may be made out of metal, it may be made out of plastic, glass. Take your laptop, it's the same thing, right? If you take this, it is made out of a kind of canvas with steel on top. But if you take any living organism, what is it made out of? Cells. This is something that you need to understand, okay? So a cell is used to make any structure that is present in a living organism. The same way, to make any wall, you need a brick. No, you need a brick, right? Okay. So basically, you can think of this as a cell. Think of this room as a cell. Inside of this room, there is an AC to keep you cold. What is the function of the AC? Keeps you cold. There's a projector to show you what is on my laptop screen. There are chairs for you to sit. There are benches for you to keep your notes on and write. Each of the structures within this room have a purpose. Yes or no? Same way, if you take a cell, there are different structures inside of this cell that have different functions, right? So we'll just take a image. Okay. So cell is one of the most boring things, right? But these small dots and all will make sense later, right? Okay. So actually we'll have a look at. Okay, anyway, right. So if you look at a cell, I'll just draw it here. So if you take a cell, there are different structures within it that have a function. Same way in this room, you have a projector that shows you what's, on the screen. You have AC to keep you cool. In the cell, you have something called a nucleus. Have you heard of this before? What is a nucleus, guys? Have you heard of it before? Others, have you heard what a nucleus is before? Basically, guys, a nucleus is the part of the cell, the organelle, right? This is what you have to call them. What are we studying now? Organelles. They are structures inside the cell, small structures inside the cell that perform a particular function. The nucleus is an organelle that contains genetic information. Let me just write that properly. It has genetic information and it controls activities of the cell. Is that clear? So what is a nucleus? It is an organelle that contains genetic information and controls the activities of the cell. So what do you understand by genetic information? Have you heard of DNA, guys? DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. You don't have to remember the full form right now, but that is what DNA is. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Now, what DNA actually does is, now, has anyone ever come up to you and has anyone ever said, Ane Puta, you look like your mother. Ane Puta, you look like your father. How does your father's eyes or your mother's eyes, your father's nose, mother's nose, their skin color, how does it come to you? It's because their DNA was passed on to you. And that DNA, when it goes to your cells, it tells the cells, make this, the eye color should be brown color. It should be green color, blue color, hair color should be brown, should be red, should be blonde. DNA is the molecule that is telling the cell how to function, how it should look, how it should function. So the DNA from your parents during reproduction combined, right? And it produced you. Have you heard of sperm cells? Of course, everyone has heard of sperm cells and egg cells now. Before they came, I think 5 years ago itself, they must have Googled sperm cell. It's there or not? What is a sperm cell? Ah, looks like a little frog, not tadpole. It can swim. Okay. What is egg cell? Oh, really big. Okay. Right. So everyone must have done this now. Okay. Anyway, so each organism has what is known as sex cells, meaning cells that they produce that combine with each other to produce little babies, basically. Future babies, known as a zygote. So your sperm cell, your egg cell, they fuse to form a zygote, one cell. When that zygote multiplies, it forms you. So all of us, every living organism on earth that produces, that is formed because of two parents. It is formed after one cell multiplies to become millions and billions of cells. You understand? So because two parent cells are fusing with each other, we refer to it as sexual reproduction. And because two parent cells are fusing together, well, you know what fusing is now? It combines. Because two parent cells are combining to make you who you are today. That's the reason why you have features that belong to your mother and your father as well. You understand? So this is the reason. This is the reason why you have features belonging to your mom, your features belonging to your dad, right? Different characteristics. You may have your mother's ears, your father's hair, father's forehead, mother's cheeks. You get it? It's because of their DNA entering your cells and telling your cells, you have to look like this. You have to perform a function like this. You get it? So it is because of the DNA. So all that genetic information, all those instructions that tell the cell, Machan, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do, all of that is in the nucleus. Now, whenever you buy a new, bit of technology, it could be a computer, it could be we just turn the camera, so I'm going to take a walk here. So you get a new bit of technology. It could be a cupboard, it could be a laptop, a computer, right? Have you seen an instruction manual that comes with it? Everything comes with an instruction manual. Although no, we don't even give a damn about it. Every box that a gadget comes in or a cupboard comes in, there is an instruction manual. right? So that instruction manual tells you if you want to make this table, fit the legs this way, fit that leg this way, put the underpart this way, and that you following those instructions, you can make these different things now, right? If you want to make, if you want to go on Google, I want to make a projector. It will tell you get this component, get this component, get this component, fit it together, and you will make a projector. Those are what? They are examples of an instruction manual. They are telling you how to build certain things. Yes or no? Same way, guys. Your DNA is telling your cells what to do, how to behave, how to look even. Now, if you take the nerve cells in your brain and your spinal cord, do you think it looks similar to your skin cells? No, right? Your skin is made of skin cells. Your brain is made of nerve cells. Does your brain and your skin look the same? No. Why? Because they're made of different cells. You get it? Yeah? Does your bone and your skin look the same? No. Bone is made of bone cells, skin is made of skin cells. You understand that? So these are why are all the different cells having different functions and different looks? It's because the DNA is telling it to be like that. You understand? Right? But I'm going to give you a confusing statement. Even though our skin cell looks different from the brain cell, even though our liver looks different from our kidneys, we all have the exact same, all the cells in our body have the exact same DNA. 100% exactly the same. And the question you might be asking, sir, if we have the exact same DNA, if the same DNA is telling a liver cell to behave like a liver cell and a skin cell to behave like a skin cell, if it's the same DNA, then how, sir, are these cells looking different? We will get to that, right? We will get to that. Okay. So you understand what a nucleus is now? It's basically the part of the cell, the organelle that carries genetic information and controls the activities of the cells. Okay, right. Now, the thing is, when you look at a nucleus, now this is the DNA that I'm drawing inside. The nucleus has a membrane. What can you think of a membrane? Like a covering. The cell also has a membrane. We call this the cell membrane. So, the same way these four walls, now imagine in your house, if you had no walls, imagine your bathroom did not have walls, your room, all your suspicious activities and all your parents will get to know. Bathroom, right? Kitchen. If your house didn't have walls, the entire neighborhood can see, look, these people, they're eating today, we also eat. So, walls, what do walls do? They keep this room separate from the other rooms, from the environment. Yes or no? Yeah. So having walls means whatever activities that happen in this room, it stays in the room. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No, that's the rule now. You guys didn't get it. Okay, anyway, it's fine. So whatever happens in this room stays in this room. Why? Because there are four walls, nobody can see, nobody can interfere. Same way, guys, cells have what is known as a cell membrane. It is a wall that, don't write wall in your exam, it's just for me to, I'm just using that term to help you understand. It is basically a structure that keeps the cell separate from the environment. You understand, right? So now, when random things, small molecules are passing by the cell, they can't just enter the cell. They can't go and disturb the cell. Like that random person, uncle, he goes on the road, no walls, we can go and have a chat, we can go and have a tea. The cell membrane keeps the cell separate from its environment. It allows the cell to function on its own. So because you have four walls, this will function as a classroom. Because you have four walls in a bathroom, it will function as a bathroom. If you have four walls in a kitchen, it will function as a kitchen. If the kitchen and the bathroom have no walls, they are together, then you don't know which is the kitchen, which is the bathroom. You might go and chew in the kitchen area, or you might cook in the bathroom, right? So the reason you have a cell membrane is to keep the cells separate from the environment. You understand, guys, right? So it kind of gives a bit of protection. It's a weak protection, but it protects, sort of has a protection when it comes to the cell. The proper definition we'll get to. So two structures we have studied. Cell membrane and the nucleus. You understand? Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that now. Okay, we'll get to that a little later. Right. So when you look at cells, guys, break. No, actually, we will not have a break. Let's not have a break, you know why? Because otherwise half an hour will be too much to do in the next class and you guys will get fed up of me. So I rather just let you get fed up of me today and then have 15 minutes in the next class, right? Okay. So now guys, it's not as simple. Now you see here, one brick, you take one brick, take many other bricks, you pile it one on top of each other, you form a wall. Yes or no? Right? You form the wall. You take many walls together, it will form a room. Many rooms together will form a house. If you take many, or you can say many rooms together will form a floor. If you take many floors, it forms a big building. There is a sort of organization here now. Then many bricks form a wall, many walls form a room, many rooms form an entire floor in a building, many floors form a building. Yes or no? That's how it's organized, right? Now in our body, it's the same. You have one cell. But if you take, now let's say you have a muscle cell. An example of a muscle cell. This is the type of muscle cell that is present in your heart. We call it the heart muscle cell. Can you look at this muscle cell and say, this is the heart? No. Heart is very different now. You've all seen the heart. I'm not talking about that heart on Valley, right? Where people live, not that. Heart. Can you call this heart muscle cell? Can you call this the heart? No, right? So how does the heart form? First of all, many of these heart muscle cells will form what is known as tissue. So basically, many cells together, cells of similar structure and function, working together, that's known as a tissue. Right here, a group of cells of similar structure working together to perform a particular function. So same cells working together, like for example, in the wall. In the wall, what happens? All the bricks identical to each other. They are laid one on top of each other, they form the wall. Right? So cells of similar structure working together to perform a particular function. What is the function of the wall? To protect us, to keep the rooms separate. You understand? Then in the heart, guys, there are many tissues. You have muscle tissue. You have nervous tissue, nerves. You have blood vessels. Are they the same? Is the muscle same as nervous tissue? No, right? Muscles have contraction and relaxation. Nerve tissues, they take electrical signals from the brain to your hand, from the hand to the brain. So different tissues work together to form an organ. So your organ or any organ, example, heart, liver, brain, they are made out of many different tissues. You understand that? Right? So you can think of this room as an organ. Why? Is this wall same as this wall? Two different walls. So this wall, those walls work together to form this classroom. So many different tissues working together to perform a particular function is what is called an organ. And there is something known as organ systems. Meaning what? If you take your digestive system, you know what the digestive system is? The part that is responsible for digestion. Your digestive system, guys, is it just the mouth? Is it just the food tube, the esophagus that connects your mouth to the stomach? Is it only that? No. Is it only the stomach? Is it only the small intestine? Is it only the large intestine? No. When you refer to the digestive system, you say mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestines, all of that is the digestive system. That is an organ system. Many, they're made from a group of organs with related, what do you understand by related functions? The functions are similar to each other, right? They're similar to each other. Why? The whole purpose of a digestive system is to allow digestion to take place. So your mouth chews the food. Why? So that the food becomes into smaller pieces, making it easy for you to swallow. The food tube, it takes this food, takes it to the stomach. Like a blender, crushes this food. Intestine, it releases enzymes that digest the food and then it is absorbed. So you see here, guys, the circulatory system. The nervous system is made out of nerves, the brain, and the spinal cord. Different organs are present. Digestive system is made out of the different parts I just told you about. Circulatory system is made out of veins, arteries, heart, different organs. So a big blood vessel, like an artery, is actually an organ, example of an organ, because it has so many different tissues inside of it. So an organ system is made out of different organs. As we study biology, all of this will make sense. I hate this topic to teach myself, you know why? Because at the beginning, when you hear digestive system, circulatory system, nervous system, you have no idea what it is now. But with time, it will get better. So the complicated things that you don't understand or it's not that clear, don't worry about it. We will anyway cover it in the future. You can ask your buddies here. Some of them have done the part-time classes and they've switched to the full-time classes with you. This topic initially is difficult, but as you cover it, it becomes very easy to understand. This is the simplest topic. In about 1 or 2 months, you will be giving me these answers like, "Yo, sir, this is so easy, sir. Why are you asking me this question?" Right? So don't worry. Things get easy. Of course, when you start anything for the first time, it's difficult now, right? When you started walking as a little baby, 12 months old, do you think it was easy? No, you kept falling down. You ask your parents. They may have videos or pictures of you trying to walk. It was difficult. So anything, when you start on the first time, it is difficult. But stay motivated, stay, right? So that comes to, we'll take a bit of a verbal break, I should say, not a commercial break, a verbal break, in the sense that I want to establish some important rules for you guys, right? So I also forgot to introduce myself. Sorry about that. I asked you guys to introduce yourself. So I am Dr. Shakeel Jaleel. I work at the emergency treatment unit at the National Hospital of Sri Lanka, which is Colombo General Hospital. So I'm an emergency medicine doctor. I teach at Platinum part-time, and I think you are my second full-time batch and possibly my 4th or 5th O-level batch. Oh, 2022, 2023. You're my 5th O-level batch in Platinum, right? Your predecessors, people who studied before me, were very, very smart. Initially, they were a bit useless, but I lit a fire under their butts and got them working hard and got them to being motivated. Ask your part-time fellows how strict I am with them. He has been with me last year as well, you can ask him. So I'm a very fun person. At least I like to think I'm fun. I don't know what you guys think, but I like to think I'm a fun person. I joke around in class, crack jokes, we laugh a lot. But when it comes to studies, there's no compromise. When you step into class, your focus should be in class. One thing I hate is students using phones. This is something that I cannot accept. So if you're using your phones in class, and if I catch you, by the way, there are people watching those cameras. There are instances in class where I get a message saying, this student is using their phone, this student is using his earphones. I get messages in class, right? So make sure that you don't get caught, because I'm going to be very strict about this. Because if you're coming to class to text your friend, don't come to class. If I catch you, your parents will be told immediately. And if you repeatedly get caught, you will be put online. You will not be allowed to come to class physically. This is the punishment. We have strict rules here. Why? This is going as a school replacement program. In the mornings, you come to Platinum because you don't go to school now, right? That's the reason. Platinum is basically becoming your school. So we have a responsibility to make sure that we develop disciplined students, right? So don't use your phones, pay attention, don't talk to each other, don't disturb the class. Those are some very basic things. Why? This generation has very, very small, I should say, dwindling, decreasing attention spans. Why? Because of electronic devices. You're always worried about notification, WhatsApp, on Instagram, TikTok, who is dancing today, newly, right? How are they dancing? What is the dance they are showing? What clothes they are wearing? Because you also want to do the same thing. This is not what is expected of teenagers. Now, I don't want to be like your parents and say, when I was a kid, this happened, but I will say it. When I was a kid, there was no social media, was not as much of a craze, or I should say rampant as it is today. Today, social media is everywhere. Everyone is talking about what goes on TikTok. Everyone is following TikTok trends. Guys, listen, this TikTok trends come from a country that is absolutely going bonkers now. And the USA is a country that is going through absolute, they don't know what life is anymore. They're so confused. You guys are Sri Lankans. I'm a Sri Lankan. Be proud to be Sri Lankans. Be proud about your culture. Be proud about your religions. No matter what religion, be proud about it. Be proud to be Sri Lankans. You don't have to wear or act or be, they have a TikTok trend, there's a dance like this. Every Sri Lankan guy is also dancing like this. Be Sri Lankan, be original. You don't have to follow the West for everything. They are not correct. They are not your leaders. We have good, okay, I can't say we have good, I can't say we have good leaders here in the government, but okay, right? But you have role models here. Your parents are there. Your parents are good role models. Uncles and aunties, your teachers. So in life, guys, it's not all these, life is not about all these flashy things, about having big cars and, big expensive watches and all of that. Life is actually a lot simpler than that. It's the final goal of life is educate yourself, right? To make your parents happy, treat your parents with respect and honor, be a good citizen. What do you understand by being a good citizen? Treating everyone with respect and love, no matter what they are, whether they are rich or poor, black or white, whatever religion, whatever caste, whatever it is, a good citizen treats everyone equally, right? So that is the goal when you come to school, to nurture you so that you become good citizens of this country, so that you guys are the future leaders. You guys are the people who are going to come and lead this country at some point. You could be future CEOs, you could be doctors like myself, you could be engineers, you could be chemists. You will be serving our country. And we need good humans like you. We need you to care and love our country and our people, not love another country or another people. Because if we don't have good Sri Lankans, how will this country become good? Right? So it's in your hands. So when you come to school every day, your first mindset should be, I am going to be the best person I can be. I'm going to be the best possible person I can be. You need to make sure that that is there in your minds. I'm going to be the best version of myself so that I can be good to my parents, good to my friends, good to my work colleagues, and good to the citizens of this country, so that I treat everyone with respect and everyone is happy because of my actions, not saddened by my actions. So this is the goal of this class. You're not just here to learn about biology in school or science or commerce. You're here to learn to be good students. And the first thing in life is to accept authority. If you're rebellious, if you go against authority, against your teachers, against your parents, against your bosses at work, if you're not working yet, but if you're rebellious, if you don't follow rules, if you don't accept the position of an authority, saying that, okay, he's a teacher, he has the right to say this. He's a principal, he has the right, he's my parent. he or she is my parent. They have the right to say this. If you don't accept that now, you know what those types of students become in the future? Unemployed adults that nobody wants to have around them. If you can't accept rules as a student, if you can't obey rules, you become a rowdy adult. And rowdy adults are adults that end up what? Sweeping the streets. Not discriminating against it, but are you coming here to sweep streets? Are you paying all of this money to sweep streets? Tell me. No, right? So if you want to sweep streets, you don't have to come here. You can just sign a contract, start in the streets. You need biology knowledge, chemistry knowledge, physics knowledge. You're coming here to learn. So don't have a street sweeper's attitude. Have the attitude of an obedient, disciplined student. Right? This is very important. Only if you have a good attitude will you make it anywhere in life. When you come to class now, remember, just because you didn't get an A, now all of your goals is to become an A-star student. All of your minds right now, you should all be thinking, I can get an A-star. You should not be thinking of anything less than an A-star. Will you actually get an A-star? I hope so, and I'll do my best from my side to make sure that happens. There will be extra classes. There will be a lot of pressure. There will be a lot of homework. When you come close to the exams, for your previous batches, I have done more than 20 hours of extra classes for them. Even though you're a full-time class, I have had classes in the evening extra for you guys to help you learn. I have done all of this for your full-time batches. Even though it's against the rules, I've somehow begged and pleaded, Platinum, listen, let them come, please. Why? Because I want you guys to leave this class, my class, with the best possible knowledge. From my side, my effort is 100%. I want the same effort from you guys. Now, all of you have to be thinking, I can get an A-star. Will all of you get an A-star? I hope you do. But in reality, 100% of a class does not get 100 out of 100 now. If you take any classroom, does everyone get 100 out of 100? Does everyone get A's? Does everyone get A-stars? No. It's your responsibility to make sure that you don't get anything less than an A-star. But there are capabilities. I am very bad at math and physics. I may have not performed as well as biology and chemistry. You guys may not be good in biology. You may find biology difficult. You may find physics, chemistry, or maths easier. You may get A-stars for that. Absolutely no problem. If your maximum capability in biology is to get a B, no matter how much you try, if the maximum that you can get. Now, can you expect an elephant to climb a tree? No. Right? A monkey can climb a tree. Can an elephant climb a tree? No. So like that, we have different capabilities. So you may not all be able to get excellent grades in all of the subjects. Some of you may get A-stars and world prizes for everything. We have students like that. But some of you may not. But my objective for you is what? If you're capable of an A or a B, let's say you're capable of a B, let's say you're capable of a C only maximum. All of you are capable of A-stars, but let's say there is a student Y, he is capable of a C. If student Y works hard and reaches his capability, he can only get a C. He may not be as gifted as all of you, but he is only capable of a C. He works hard and he gets a C. For me, that is equal to getting a world prize. Why? He worked hard and he reached his capability. I have to appreciate that. His parents also have to appreciate that. The fact that they have to understand not all students can get 100% for all subjects now. But if he worked hard and got his C, I'm very appreciative of that. Why? Because there are students who are capable of A-stars, who are capable of even world prizes. They did not work hard. They did not take their studies seriously. You know what they got? D's, C's, B's. Isn't it a shame? Isn't it saddening to see a student who is capable of an A-star getting a C? Isn't that sad? It's sad. No? If you can get an A-star, why not get an A-star? Why do you have to end up going and getting a C? That is the most sad thing, that you can ever, as a teacher that I can say, an A-star student or a world prize student getting a C or a D or failing the exam. Why? Bad attitude, not interested. Going out with friends, getting into activities that are not helpful, harmful activities. That's not your goal here. So what if all of you should be able to tell yourself, I have an A-star capability inside of myself. I'm going to work hard. I want you guys to achieve your capabilities. And I'm here to help you do that. There are some who will talk in class, they will discuss. They come and talk here, but when they leave class, half of what is taught is not there. It's a loss for them. If you can't remember, not because of your memory problem, if you've been talking using your phone in class, and if you can't remember half of what was taught, that class is a loss. Let's say you have paid 1,000 rupees for that class, you have wasted that class. That class is an absolute loss for you because you did not get what you should have gotten from that class. In the end, guys, who is working hard? Your parents. You have seen your dad. No, you guys may be supported by your dad or your mom or both of them. Or some of my students are supported by their older brothers or sisters who give them money because their parents are retired. So in your minds, guys, you have to make sure that you come to class and you come to class with this attitude that whatever you are doing is going to justify your parents' hard-earned money. Your parents are, when it comes to your parents, your money is not falling from the sky, no. You don't have money from the trees, yes or no? Don't get distracted by the camera. If you want to be out there on the camera, I can take a full zoom shot of your faces. Look at me, right? Yeah. So you're here to justify what the effort, the money that your parents have put into your education. So when you come here, make sure that whatever you're doing to maximize and justify their efforts and to make sure that they're happy in the end. You guys want to see your parents happy, or you're coming here to make them sad? Questions? Obviously, you're here to make them happy, no? Or you're here to make the next door kids' parents happy? Who? You're all here to make your parents happy, right? So all of you make sure that you justify their efforts, you make them happy, make them proud, and you make us proud as your teachers as well. Ultimately, to get an A-star in biology, for example, the teachers that go into you getting an A-star is only 30%. Even if I give you all of the materials and the support and the practice needed for you to reach an A-star, if I give you everything for even a world prize, even in the end, it is up to you guys to use that in your studies. It is up to you guys to use all that knowledge, to use all that effort to get an A-star. If you don't study hard, if you don't put that effort, will you get an A-star? Even if I've given you everything? No. You have to study. You still have to go home and revise. You still have to go home and study. You still have to go home and practice past papers. You understand? So why am I spending all of this time here today, giving you this speech? Because I want you guys to have an A-star attitude from day one. Not an attitude of an E student, a U student. Some students are there in my part-time batch who are going to be doing their O-levels next year. They're absolutely disinterested when they come to class. Their minds are somewhere else. They're talking, they're chatting, discussing about boys, thinking about boys. Girls I'm talking about, right? The boys in the Cambridge boys are one of the smartest, right? In the part-time batch. Girls are hopeless. But it's the only batch like that. Every other batch, the girls are smart. But this particular batch in the part-time class, boys are very smart. You have a bunch of boys here in the front row. They get the highest. Girls, but there's one girl actually who's very smart. I think she got the second highest this time. And she got the highest the last time. So I don't discriminate between boys and girls. I'm telling that for certain girls here in this class who lack effort, they know who I'm talking about, right? Boys in the Cambridge batch, very smart. Girls in the Cambridge batch, disappointing. Don't even know why they come to class sometimes, some of them. EDEXCEL batch, it's a mix. Boys and girls are both hardworking. But I will say girls are hardworking to get the boys to work hard. Boys are, yo, she is working, why can't I be as smart as her? You guys are, for me, you guys have equal capabilities. Boys are not smarter than girls, girls are not smarter than boys. But one thing I can tell you, girls are hardworking. But for some reason in this Cambridge batch, I don't know, they all woke up on the other side of the bed, I think. The guys are more hardworking, right? Some reason, I don't know how. But okay, so boys especially. Girls, they generally work hard. Boys, do you want to sweep the streets? Do you want to start cleaning cars for a job? You want to be somewhere in life now, right? You want to be somebody in life? Can you please tell me what professions you want to be? What do you want to study to become in the future to live? Civil engineer. Yourself? Risindu, right? Sham? Sham. This is Sham, right? Huh? Dermatologist. Okay, good. Yourself? Engineer. Yourself? Aircraft engineer. Yourself? Robotics. Yourself? Engineer. You? Data scientist. Okay, good. That's interesting, right? Not that they're the only guys in class, but I just wanted to get the idea. You guys are also guys, by the way, don't worry. Right? Me for you. Right, okay. But I'm saying, see, everyone here is coming to study to become somebody. Don't end up being street cleaners with your attitude. That's very important. You're not here to become street cleaners. All of you have just given me an example of very accomplished, very important professions. But also these professions are not easy to get. You can't just become a civil engineer. You can't just become a data scientist. You can't just become an aerospace engineer. Those are difficult fields. You need to study hard. And that you practice from now. If you don't show a hardworking attitude, I will force you to show a hardworking attitude. I'm a pushy guy. I will light a fire under your butt. Whether it's by me directly talking to you or me getting your parents to talk to you, I will make sure that that fire will be lit until you do your O-levels with me. And if you join your A-levels with me, that fire will continue to burn. Whether you will have a butt at all, I don't know. Right? Might be burnt, may not be burnt. Just depends on how your attitude is. The poorer your attitude, the more powerful the fire. In the end, when people observe you and your butt, it'll be like this. It'll go like that till the end. Half of it is burnt because of me. So make sure that your attitudes are fixed and let's all get you guys an A star. Okay, that is the promise that you have to make today in class. I'm going to have an A star attitude. I'm going to go out and get an A star. That is what you guys should be having in your mind. Nothing less than that. You understand? Nothing less than that. I'm going to have an A star attitude. That should be your focus and your goal. Okay? Right. So that being said, we have 15 minutes. You won't get your break though, but we'll just complete this for now. Right. Now you know the basic structural and functional unit of life. What do you understand by structural unit of life? To make a wall, you need to have a brick. Bricks laid one on top of each other will form the structure called a wall. To form the structure called your skin, you need a cell. To form the structure called your brain, you need cells. So to make any structure in your body, you need cells. That's why it's called the basic structural unit of life. Why is it called the functional unit of life? Can your brain function if it did not have living cells? No. Can your skin be the skin if it did not have living cells? No. Can your liver function as a liver if it did not have living liver cells? No. So for any structure in the body to appear the way they are, to appear the way they appear, and to function the way they function, you need to have cells. That's why we call a cell the basic structural and functional unit of life. Without a cell, there will be no body structures. Without a cell, our body will not be able to function because of the cell only that our body organs are functioning. Understood? Right. Okay. So next, let's go to the structures within cells. So these organelles are known as subcellular structures, meaning structures within the cell. And each structure carries out a particular function. So we already know that when it comes to the nucleus, it contains genetic information and it controls the activities of the cell. When you take the cell membrane, what happens? Yeah, it's a partially permeable. We'll get there. Yeah, partially permeable membrane. Good. Okay. So we'll get to that point. So guys, there is a nice table here that summarizes all of the structures. So in the cell, there is a nucleus. Wait, so if you see, look at a cell, guys, this is how it looks like. It's basically a 3D, as you can see, a 3D structure. Can you see that? Yeah, it's basically like a ball, right? So on the outer surface of animal cells, you have what is known as a cell membrane. So this blue color capsule-like thing that is holding all of the structures inside is known as a cell membrane. Understood? And you see inside the cell, there are many structures inside. Yeah. So those are known as the organelles, also known as the subcellular structures. You use the term organelle, it's better. So each of these structures has a specific function. Now, if you ask me, sir, filling inside the cell, is all of this empty space, or is there something? Now this area here, these white areas, is it empty space, or is there something filling inside? There is something filling all of this. All of these structures that you see is floating in what is known as the cytoplasm. It is a jelly-like structure, jelly-like substance. You can think of it as a kind of jelly-like substance that is filling the entire inside portion of the cell. And all of these organelles are kind of like hanging out inside. So it's a cytoplasm. Think of it as all of this is surrounded, all of this empty space. This is the inside of the cell. It is filled with the cytoplasm, and all the organelles are basically just chilling inside the cytoplasm. You understand? Right? So that is how the cell is, right? So you have a jelly-like substance known as the cytoplasm, which is where the organelles are kind of floating inside. You get it? Right? So, okay. And here you see the biggest organelle right here, the nucleus. Forget the nucleolus. That's not what you have to learn. Right? So this is the nucleus, as you can see, this purple structure in the middle, and it has the DNA on the inside, right? The DNA, which is giving all of these instructions to the cell, telling how it should function, how it should appear like, right? Then you have these structures here. There is one more structure I want you to see. Here, this one that looks like a little bit of a peanut. It's called the mitochondria. Now, what is the function of this mitochondria? What does it do? In simple terms, you know what mitochondria actually does? We call it the powerhouse of the cell. What do you understand by powerhouse? What is the powerhouse of the cell? The mitochondria is the part of the cell, the organelle of the cell that provides it with energy. I told you guys that there is a chemical reaction called respiration, where energy is released from food that gives you the energy to talk, to walk, to run, all of that. That reaction takes place here in the mitochondria. So it is the powerhouse of the cell. It is the part of the cell where respiration takes place. What is respiration? The chemical reaction that releases energy from food. So that happens in the mitochondria. Okay, right? All right. So what have we studied so far? We've studied cell membrane, but we have not defined it yet. We've studied mitochondria, nucleus, and we've talked about the cytoplasm also. Okay, right. So nucleus is done. So remember that definition. It also controls cell division. Jelly-like substance that supports the cell structure, site of many chemical reactions. contains water and solute. So when you think of it like this, how it's easy to remember cytoplasm. When your mother makes jelly, have you guys seen your mom make jelly? Take hot water, then you have the jelly packet. You add the jelly packet powder, and then the jelly forms. No, cytoplasm is like that. It contains water and solutes, substances dissolved in that water. And many reactions take place in the cytoplasm, and it is a jelly-like substance that supports cell structures. Cell membrane. Now, I like to call the cell membrane like a security guard. Can any random person on the road come into this building and say, I want to go to Platinum? Can the road sweeper say, I want to come to Platinum? Can the pan car come and say, I want to come to Platinum? No. There is a security person there. He will check your ID. You guys will be given IDs, by the way, soon. They will check your ID and they'll say, okay, you're a Platinum student, full-time student. Okay, go to class. So the cell membrane is like that. It's like a security guard. Why? It allows only Platinum students to enter, but people who are not part of Platinum, they stay out. Same way cell membrane. Only some substances, the cell membrane allows some substances to enter, some substances to leave, but it tells other substances, Machan, no entry. You stay there. You cannot enter the cell, you cannot leave the cell. So what do we say? We say that the cell membrane controls what enters and leaves the cell. It's like a security guard. You come, you stay out. You go, you don't go. You get it? Right? So for that reason, we say it's partially permeable. Permeable means, guys, the ability of a substance to move through. So let's say this is the cell membrane. Substances can enter and leave the cell membrane. But what do you understand by partially permeable? Not every substance on the outside can enter, not every substance on the inside can leave. It's not a free, it's not like one of those security guards who is drunk alcohol, is doped. People are coming and entering Platinum. No, not like that. Very alert security guard. Some substances can enter, some substances can leave. You get it? So that's why we say it's partially permeable. Fully permeable means anything can enter, anything can leave. That is the cell wall. We'll study that. Cell membrane is a structure that allows only some substances to enter, some to leave. So we say that the cell membrane is partially permeable. You get that? You understand that? Yeah, okay, good. Right. Any of you went to Lyceum previously? Him and him. Okay, and you. Okay. Right. So we say that it is partially permeable. You understand? Okay. Next, we study the mitochondria. It is the powerhouse of the cell. It is the site of respiration. So some of these details, guys, will be difficult to remember. Don't worry. No pressure from my end. I just want you to get the basic understanding. That's it. More than that, when we study the lessons, you will understand. Okay. And then vacuole contains cell sap. So there are now some structures that are different when it comes to a plant cell and an animal cell. Can you see this here? You have a plant cell on this end. You have an animal cell over here. Does it look the same? No. One of the main differences, if you look, when it comes to the animal cell has a what we call a irregular shape. All of you write it above the animal cell, irregular shape. Plant cell has a regular shape. Animal cell, no cell wall. Plant cell has a cell wall. Plant cell has chloroplasts. No chloroplasts. Large permanent vacuole. By the way, Cambridge guys, there is a topic before this known as classification of organisms. We will be doing that, right, at some point in your syllabus. Close to the end of the syllabus, we'll do it because it's a little bit of a complicated topic. It's a topic that was introduced only last year. So we will do it. Don't worry. I'm not skipping anything. By the time the syllabus finishes, 100% will be covered. Do not worry. But the order is a little different because it's going to be made simple for you to understand. I'm giving it in a very simplified order. If I start introducing classification now, you guys will, your minds will blast. Classification. So it's a little bit of a complicated topic. So these are some basic differences between animal cells and plant cells. So plant cells have a regular shape. Can you see this yellow structure around the plant cell? What is it called? A cell wall. It isn't like the cell membrane, but it is strong and is present outside of the cell membrane. For example, if you take your house, the four walls of your house are there. Outside the four walls of the house, you have the property walls, the four walls of the property, whether between the house and the garden, there are two. Now, this is the wall of your house. Outside that, where your gate is present, there is another wall now. You can think of that like the cell wall. It gives some added protection to the cell. It protects the cell. It gives it, what do you understand by protection? It prevents the cell from bursting if too much water enters, right? It gives the cell more strength, right? So that is what you understand by cell wall, right? It is a structure that is present that gives strength to the cell, rigidity to the cell. So if you look at the cell wall over here, it gives support to the cell and strength. It is made up of a substance called cellulose. This is in the case of plants. And the difference between the cell wall and cell membrane is the cell wall is fully permeable. Fully permeable means what I just told you. Any substance can enter, any substance can leave. Partially permeable means like the cell membrane, only some substances enter, only some substances can leave. So the cell membrane is the structure of the cell that tells you can come, you can go. Cell wall is like a nice guy. Nice thing. You want to go? You go, no problem. You want to leave, you leave. That is the difference between the two. Okay. So we will stop it at that for today. Right. So nice having you guys for class today. Hope you're all motivated and let's go get your A stars. All the best and have a nice weekend. Take care.